Hey Mac, guess what? I can stop the beat, little Jonah playfully proclaimed. It was my first day of my new part-time nanny gig, watching this little munchkin mini kindergartner. Jonah was referring to the game we had created the last time I watched him, 2 years prior, based off the song, You Can't Stop the Beat. Our summer together, Jonah had seen me in a production of Hairspray, and his big takeaway was, no, I can stop the beat. He was 4. So I started to tap my hand against my leg. You can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat. Ow, ow, ow. Jonah starts to chase after whatever limb is keeping the beat. 20 minutes go by and my chant has grown. I am giving 11 o'clock number on Broadway realness. Jonah is koala bear hugging my stomping leg, shouting, I can stop the beat! Suddenly I started to laugh. I started to laugh really hard. I was feeling something that I hadn't experienced in quite a bit. Joy. You see, a few weeks prior, I had come home from New York City to escape a 3-year-long abusive relationship that took over my life from ages 16 to 19. 3 years of verbal, physical, and sexual abuse. One of the last vivid memories I have of my ex is them saying, it's not like anybody would miss you. All you have is me, and I don't even like you. This was right after they lowered the white and green cutting knife from my neck. On October 21st, 2013, I called my mom from the stairwell of my apartment to admit the truth of my situation and for the first time accept it myself. And with that, I broke. I collapsed on the floor, convulsing and sobbing uncontrollably. The boy who got off that Greyhound bus in Hartford, Connecticut later that evening was a shell of a human being. I felt empty. My days from there on out were filled with constant shaking, crying, and sleep deprivation due to my explicit night terrors. Besides therapy, I did not want to leave my house. So, where does little Jonah come in, you ask? Naturally, my Jewish mother has selective hearing. During her routine Sunday Zumba schwitz at the Jewish Community Center, she ran into Jessica, who was desperately looking for a part-time after-school babysitter for her youngest, Jonah. So my mom volunteered me to Jessica, came home, and then voluntold me. To this I thought, mazel. As if these terrifying panic attacks weren't super fun and private, I now got to have an audience of 1 who was 6. But here we were. Me belting my face off, Jonah beat stopping, fist up in the air, playing a rousing game of You Can't Stop the Beat. And for the first time in a long time, I am genuinely happy. And so my journey with Jonah begins. My relationship robbed me of a lot of things, one of which was my self-confidence. Part of my ex's daily affirmations was to repeatedly tell me how stupid and unliked I was. An example. We're heading back from the Broadway and Bryant Park concert series, and then, unprompted, my ex goes in. You're so stupid. No, really, you're actually dumb. Everyone in the apartment thinks so. No one likes you. As a button to their tangent on a crowded train platform, they smack me across the face. Hearing this multiple times a day, every day, I unfortunately started to believe it. Now, juxtapose that with how Jonah viewed me. To Jonah, I was Shawn Mendes. No, Lady Gaga. Oprah. All right. He would bring one of his buddies from class over at pickup. This is my really cool babysitter, Mac. He's like so funny. Duh. See, so funny. What can I say? I was the John Mulaney of suburban kindergarten. This kid's full-hearted belief in me was infectious. My hype, little man, hyped me up so much that I even started to believe it. My time with Jonah turned into the best part of my day. My morning could be at the courthouse filing a restraining order, and then the hilarity of Jonah saying, If I don't have your mom for 4th grade, I'll quit. You'll quit elementary school? Yeah, this is serious. Or I could spend an exhausting hour with my therapist divulging into sexual assault stories, only to spend my afternoon playing Wizard Warriors. Take that electric cannonball! Oh yeah? Force field with super intergalactic lightning bolt! Ah, no way! This was my escape. With Jonah, I had a purpose. For 2 to 4 hours a day, I was his babysitter, and none of that other stuff mattered. During this magical time, I received a little Disney magic. Frozen. Jonah and I saw it together in theaters, and we left shook. In the car, Jonah and I were overlapping each other's sentences, too blown away to keep in any of our excitement. From that day forward, after Jonah's post-school chips, never in your life have you seen such a tiny person eat so many aunts. I would put on Frozen. We slowly circled the kitchen's island as we gave fully committed, give us our Tony's performances. Eat your heart out, Adele Dazeem. This was me. Theatrical, silly, carefree, loud. I hadn't seen this Mac in years. 2nd grade is when the bullying started for seeming gay. I didn't know what seeming gay meant, but I did everything in my power to be anything but that. Then middle school came, and with it, the hormones that then affirmed the cruel taunting. I shut Mac out and became a persona that serviced everyone but me. Painful therapy sessions revealed that it was this absence of self-love that made me vulnerable to the relationship I just endured. I was so desperate to please, so incapable of believing that I was truly worth anything. My ex was the first person I came out to, not just as gay, but as the Mac that I had hidden away for so many years. I didn't know that the person I was confiding in would weaponize their access to the real me. Our last summer together, out of nowhere, they said, "You know, you're not who I thought you were." I knew exactly what they meant. They knew what they were doing. The abuse was intentional. 3 years prior, they met a hardened Mac, one that my forced arrogance was confused as confidence. It was upon revealing my vulnerability and blind trust that they started to take advantage of me. For 3 years, they watched as their strategic actions slowly broke me. It didn't matter how hard I fought, how hard I cried, how very visible and public I had panic attacks. They were never going to willingly let me go. They knew the power that they had over me. I was enraged, but after years of fear and brainwashing, I stayed quiet and very still. One day after watching Jonah, I still had the Frozen soundtrack playing in my car. My rendition of the power ballad, Let It Go, went from a mindless murmur to a guttural belt. Let it go, and I'll rise like the break of dawn. Let it go, that perfect girl is gone. These words cause a visceral reaction through my body. I was crying for the scared little boy that felt trapped for far too long, and crying for the joy and honest fear of the man I was going to be. I was free. In mid-January of 2014, I was re-enrolling in the University of Connecticut, my first big step in getting my life back in order. But this time I was going to do it my way. I was going to study what I loved, theater. Leaving Jonah was bittersweet. For a minute, I actually considered driving the hour commute every day just so I didn't have to leave. But that would be crazy. And it was time. My goodbye to Jonah was long-winded and after 30 minutes, I was finally walking to the door. Mac, You promise you'll be back this summer to babysit me? Pinky promise. Hey, Mac, we're friends, right? Duh, that's but. Then my little modern-day miracle messiah gives me a big hug. And he says, I'm going to miss you. I'm really going to miss you too, Joe.